I'm retired from the board. I've never been a paid person on the board. That's important. I'm not a paid spokesperson to say what I'm going to say. My opinions are my own. I believe in them pretty strongly, and so I'll start, and then I'll go get to these very specific points. I've always been a big believer in public education, always. I've been a big believer in public higher education, and I'm especially a believer in public community college education. One fact, of course, the middle class in this part of the world, the United States, has made really possible since about World War II, where they thought people who weren't born rich or with wealthy folks or heritage could get an education, could learn. And that's what spawned this new concept that really only exists in the Americas, mainly started here, called a community college. The university system got started because royalty, if they had more than one child, one would go to the priesthood and one would go run the family business. They had to get educated. But community college is for the masses. Here's the statistic. Statistic one, half of all students in America today will spend some time at a community college. Half of them. That's white, black, Hispanic, half of them. Statistic two, 75% of students of color, people who look like me, 3 out of 4 will spend time in a community college. Would you like to know where the trends are heading in Texas, Florida, California? They look like people of color. That's because of pure geography, ladies and gentlemen. I'm a very big believer in terms of value. And so don't let me forget, I brought my voter registration card to talk about something. And I'm going to focus on one item for this presentation. I'm a yes, in case you didn't know, but I want to say I'm a yes. Now let's see what they have to say. They said, a special interest group, well no, public, there are several groups that I don't think you call special interest. The school board of Pflugerville had to act. There are people here who are publicly elected, I believe. Are there any, is there a mayor here, city council members here? They don't look like private special interest groups to me. And so the law requires that people sign up. You saw an earlier slide that said that you needed 5% of the people, not the special interest, to sign up. They got 3,500 votes, way more than they needed. Does that take care of that question? Okay. Completely add a completely new awesome community college tax. Well, that's true. It would be, well, I don't know how ever burgeoning your annual tax bill is, but I don't mind. This is my voter registration card, pretty cool. It says, I pay City of Austin tax, I pay Austin ISD tax, I pay Travis County tax, I pay Healthcare District tax, and I pay Austin Community College District tax. Which one do you think is the lowest? Lowest. So if I were against taxes, why would I be spending all my energy trying to fight the lowest thing on my bill? It's like $200. I mean, a year is like $200. But my school district is in the thousands, and I'm supporting that. So all I'm trying to say to you is that we saw this. If we had time, I guess I don't want to go back. You know how, Ms. Alicia, could you toggle? But I want to, and first, let me also thank Black Pflugerville for hosting this. I'm really grateful that you all will do this. It's important. If we go back to that tax area, it's a chart. I don't know what page
it's
it
on
is. Page 13 or 14. So you're on 19. You go back.
Everybody's got this.
Everybody got that? Look, and then let me just point this out pretty quick. Look at the most expensive thing you can. Commercial. On the far right here, there it is. Most expensive thing, $376. Well, that's more than you're going to pay in your taxes. I mean, if you were not in the district, you pay far more than that for your tuition. And that's what I think you were saying, Barbara, the current chairperson was saying, that this cost gets absorbed by just one course. One course. Okay. Can we talk about that resolution? All right. So again, this is real, and I've been paying this since for 20 years. My own family will not benefit directly from this, and I'm also an economics professor, so I don't want to go too far here. But I'll just say there are certain things called public goods and private goods and public benefit, Private benefit, okay, so, okay, all right. Oh, it should be on your desktop, I guess. Oh, okay, very good. All right, so that was the first bullet. And you can find what they've said. I guess if no one else was here to speak about it, I'll speak there, but I want to make sure that my point of view is, I'm a yes vote. So this tax will subsidize a small portion, it says, to go to the ACC. This is where that economics training comes into play. So, how many of you have worked in Austin ever before? Okay. All right. How many of you travel into Austin or travel outside of Austin on a regular basis? Just curious. This is the problem. The problem is that people say just because I live here, 1.5%, nothing else affects me. It can't be true. Every large population has this problem. It's called the free rider problem. The free rider problem. Somebody else pays for infrastructure. Somebody else, and then the people who don't pay still get the benefit. I see our commissioners coming in. This is a who's who. Yes. The free rider principle is that you hope someone else carries the burden so you don't have to and you get the benefit. I've seen this, I've lived in capital cities all my life, most of all my life, grew up in Fort Worth, but Boston, same way, Washington, D.C., same way. The mayor of Washington, late mayor, had famous and said, you know, if it weren't for Washington, D.C., Burke, Virginia would be a cow pasture right now, right? What it's saying is people come and they complain about the center and they live around it as though they don't exist in a concert with it. I'm just amazed that people would assume that they can do everything they need to do in their one plot. It's just not factually true. Now, it is true that the people who are now not paying would pay more, and there'd be a broad-based tax. But isn't there also a broad-based benefit? Isn't there? All right, so here it is. Person gets an education, they live here, and they're well taken care of. They get a better job, they get to pay, they get to do other things with their family. But is that the only thing? Well, how about this? If they can pay their bills, they're not having to steal or cheat. If they can pay their bills, they can buy their car from this private sector dealership. They can go out to lunch or dinner more often. These are other benefits. Well, how does that get captured? The point is, if you need to compare the whole system. We all exist in a system. And so what bothers me about this argument, it's very common, is the free rider principle. What they want is for you to pay the benefits, pay the cost while they take the benefits. I just like it to be spread out more. And that's it on that.
Can I throw something into that as well? The other thing that is important to remember, because this came up and somebody said, well, you know, Austin's going to get a benefit. And please forgive me, I'm not being ugly, but the truth is, if Pflugerville doesn't come in, it is not going to hurt Austin Community College District. We're a big system. Who it hurts is Pflugerville residents. And the businesses that are coming to town, that's the first question every Chamber of Commerce tells us that is asked. What are the higher education opportunities? What are the training opportunities?
And on this point, you saw the four things that ACC does. ACC is not Austin Community College, by the way. It's Austin Community College District, and that means something. It's more than Austin. It started out as Austin only, but it's grown over the last 40 years. Whenever I go to my Austin Regional Clinic physician, you know who's taking my blood? And Austin Community College person who graduated with phlebotomy. You know who's doing the radiologist thing? It's not a UT person, love them, but it's Austin Community College usually. And they have, if you have a fire, an emergency, EMT, you know those people are educated? You heard it earlier, Austin Community College. All right, so if passed, you know, Pflugerville taxpayers would be overburdened. I don't think that's true. Here's what really will happen. When you pass it, if you pass this, and I hope you will, if you pass this in November, your tax bill will stay exactly the same for a year and a half or something like that. But the students the next day get to go get 1/3 of the cost of tuition. Did I say that right? Your tax bill won't change. You know why it won't change right away? Because it can't. You will get your bill for 2019 in a few weeks, right, from the Travis appraisal. So it's already set. It is what it is. So all that time, for that whole, really for at least nearly a year, your tax bill can't change, but the tuition bill will have gone down. And then come next October, I guess when you get the bill, you have it till December, then it's due in January. That's 2020. So we've already made that. Okay. All right. Yes, 10 cents. 10 cents is 10 cents. But remember what I said on my little bill? There's a city, there's a ISD, there's a county, there's a healthcare district, newer district. It's still higher than.
But wait a minute, that is not correct. It is .10.
Well, it says 10 cents. It's 10 cents.
Per one
Oh,
hour.
it took her away. I'm sorry.
It's
Okay,
10.
I'm
That's
looking.
right, they just need a different
Okay,
decimal.
that is,
It's-
yeah.
10 cents is still 10 cents.
Yeah.
And it used to be 9.5 cents, and Dr. Molly Beck Mountain explained why it's now a little bit more, because we had a bond that takes a loan to pay off those other buildings, and when that gets defeased, they say, then it goes back down. All right, so what's this? Property owner, this, okay, if that's true, it is true, but $200 a year is much, and spread out over a lot of folks, is much less than the $380-something for one class. Okay. Okay. Well, these are factors. So again, $300, $200 compared to $21,000 for a class. It just, to me, it's an easy comparison. And remember, do I want to have educated people as my neighbors who have their own income, who can buy stuff, and who can? I absolutely do. It's what made me self-sufficient. I'm not living at home like my mom, right? Because I don't have to, right? And now I can actually help her as needed. Okay, as your property goes up, values go up, so the ACC. That's true. That's also true of every single other thing in life. Keep breathing. This is true. But it's not unique. If you didn't have an ACC bill, as your property value goes up, then so does your other taxes, right? That's called appreciation, and that's why this region is a very, very popular region because of its quality of life. It makes it expensive, but it doesn't mean that it is unique. So things are going up is what I hear this said. That adds up over the course of a 30-year loan. Yeah, things go up. I'm not sure of the calculation here, $6,000 to $9,000. But generally, I'll concede the point that over time, things become more expensive. Here's my point. If you have an education and you pay less for it, over time, you're going to get the value of that advantage.
And we might add that most people don't live in their homes for 30 years anyway.
Who does that? Yeah, who does that? Who does that? All right. So
My wife didn't let me.
yeah. So why vote no? This is the last one. I'm going to say some things after I respond to every point, and then you can ask some questions if you want. Why vote no? It subsidizes Austin residents. This I don't understand. Let me explain why. Pflugerville coming into the district would be a very new entrant into the district. Very new. And yet, Pflugerville residents get to use 100% every other campus that's ever existed for the beginning for the same price. That seems like to me, Austin is subsidizing Pflugerville. If you've already got all this stuff and somebody comes in, how are you paying for more of that? Seems like to me that the base is saying, welcome, you're the newest member of the family. Yeah.
One of the things I've heard them say about this quite a bit is that because of the difference between what the tax collected and then the difference between the out-of-district tuition. But I think one of the things we've noticed is they're not taking into account the cost of the services, the cost to run a campus, the cost for salaries and keep the lights on it, right? So I think that calculation they're using to get that 5 to 1 is that's what they're doing, but they're not taking into account the cost of the services or any economic growth it brings to the community either.
In that case, I can tell you what we learned. I can say this now in executive session. So here's what I know. Here's what I know. When a group comes in, there's no way that their money can pay for the service we provide. No way. No way, no way at all. Here's how. Because, first of all, we won't get any of the tax money for a year and a half. And yet services, teachers are being paid. We're gonna lease some space likely. We're gonna be conducting all these surveys. And then we're gonna build a building on it. Do you know it costs multiple millions of dollars to build a facility? Who's paying all those millions if you're bringing in, what, a couple of million? I don't know what it is. Relatively small, but a new building costs about $40 million to build. Well,
How much does it cost though, just for, students going to the existing facilities that are being added? I mean, for.
it's
like
the
a
same
Pflugerville
$85 an
being
hour.
added, yeah.
It's the same $85 an hour. So everybody who's already paid that is not asking you to reimburse them. They're just saying, come join at your $85 rate level. So it seems to me that there is no way that the newest member that's paying the least amount in taxes is going to be subsidizing all the rest of them. Okay, no campus. I want to talk a little bit about this. I'm a former board member, so the ACC doesn't lie about stuff like that. Doesn't lie about stuff. That's the board wouldn't let the ACC do that because we are on the line again, unpaid. We are volunteers. We have our reputations. That's all we have. We would not say trick them into coming, and then we'll think of some reason not to do it. Now I want you to turn, please, to slide 4, because this is my, and I'll come back to the last one. Slide 4, if you can do it, Paulo, if you can.
Or in the book.
Or slide 4 in the book, the big map. Slide 4. I'm gonna pass this on to, thank you all. Just that one page, and circling. We're gonna do a little bit. It's in your book. I didn't know. Lisa, you got one? There you go. There you go. There you go. Okay. Yeah, I'll give me a time. I should have asked for a time, but okay. How many minutes do I have left? 5 minutes. I'll give you back to it. Okay.
I'm taking those two because I got some.
You got something there? All right. So here is the current state of the map. I want to say to you, ladies and gentlemen, that when I
May I
first
have your
started
attention,
talking,
please? The library will close in 30 minutes.
well, I guess we'll be here.
The computer and the printer will down in 15 minutes.
This is not the
To
first.
avoid losing your work, please print or email it now.
I still need my 3 minutes of it. This is not the first time we have had this conversation with leaders in Pflugerville. Not the first time I've had it. I remember several years ago, we had this conversation, and the question was then, what are you going to give us, ACC? What do we get? And we said, please come in so that we can discuss a campus and other services for your students and for you. I've had the same conversation, and I had it before Hayes was here. I had it before Elgin existed, before Del Valley, and before this here, and before San Gabriel, and before Round Rock. So more of this was green except the blue. Now we're here in 2018, and the only part that is not blue is here. What does that say to me as a leader? Time is not recursive. It doesn't go back. Pflugerville may choose to not come in. If you do, in 10 years from now, this picture will be even more different, potentially. So, when we had this conversation the first time, there was no Elgin campus, there was no Southeast land purchase, there was no Hayes campus, but time is going on. Now, my question to you is, what do they know that you don't know? What is it that's so special about this place that everybody else has got it wrong? I think there's nothing. I think that there is a point of view that says leadership, and this is where I make my leadership plea, leadership makes the choice and the big push that says it's better for all of us to pay a little than for a few of us, in fact, the youngest and the poorest of us, to pay most for a benefit that all of us can get. That's the leadership call, and that's my call to action. Over time, it becomes less and less viable to ask for something when ACC, which is a $370 million entity, gets larger, 70-something thousand students. We got to do what we got to do. They got to do what they got to do now. But, I'll just say to you, point is, time is all you have, but it won't be the same if we're still having this conversation 5 years from now, 10 years from now. Questions? Thank you, Ms. Leach. Questions, comments?
And I want to add something, even though Jeffrey said this conversation's been going on for a long time, this is the first time people have ever gotten the signatures together to have an election. Because there are people that said, oh, well, it's been voted down before. But that's not true. This is the first time it's ever gotten to this point. Another one, the last one on there where it said, oh, it's the worst, it's third from the bottom.
Oh, yeah.
That's the one, I'm sorry now, and this, I'm just the facts, but I am a little passionate about the facts. That is not true. Now, can you go on the internet and find something that's gonna tell you stuff about all kinds of things? And the answer is yes. But I don't know which one of the ones that is from. There's all kinds. Okay, wherever it's from, but let me tell you how they look at these surveys. iPads data is something that's used nationally. This issue is something that community colleges are regularly fighting all the time, because here's how you get counted if you were the only time you get counted is your first semester, first time in college student. So I'm gonna give you, for instance, I always hear my boss talk about this. He has a doctorate degree, he would be considered a dropout. A failure because he didn't start and go all the way through. You're not counted. And we get a lot of students that have dropped out of UT or got kicked out of UT or that had to do something else first. Those students aren't even counted. So here's the data that you want to know. Both the presidents of A&M, of UT, of Texas State, all the ones around, love getting our students. And they say our students are so much better prepared than those who come as native students, freshman students. For one thing, as you know, many of the students going to community college may already be married, they may already have a family, they've done something else, they're coming back to retrain. They're serious students. And universities are wonderful, and I went to several different ones, but a lot of times students that are starting out at the university are going and they've got mom and daddy paying for it and they're having a good time. And that's why our students do better. There's some data out there that people, if you have an option on hiring somebody that has community college on the record or just university and all things else are the same, there are a lot of companies that have started looking and they want to hire that student that went to the community college first because they know they've gotten really good training. Other thing, if you come to a community college, you're going to have 30, 35 students at the most in your class. You're going to pay that cost compared to going to the university where you're probably going to have a graduate assistant with 300 to 500 students in a class. And we're working on a regular basis to try to help every student do well. Hayes, we talk about, when people talk about Austin, it's Hayes, Bastrop, Travis, Williamson, Lee counties are all a part of our district. And everything in Travis County is not even in it. There's a few school districts that aren't, like Eames.
Part of Eames.
Yeah. So part of Eames, it's the same thing. It's the city of Austin, and then everything else has been done by ISDs. But, the transfer number is great. We have an excellent community college system. People come from all over the world, literally, to look at what we're doing. So when I see things like that, not that one, the one up there about how low we are, it upsets, it makes my blood boil. I mean, we've had the Secretary of Education has come in the past. We've got all kinds of programs and people literally on a daily basis coming in. It was the governor of the state of Texas that chose us, not the University of Texas, to do the bioscience incubator. It was the city of Austin that came to us, not the university, to build the fashion incubator. It is the Army Futures talking to us now a lot about a lot of different things. And Mass Challenge. All these groups are working with us because we're very nimble in what we do and because we are forward-thinking.
And may I say, Dr. Mother, you can prove anything and nothing with a single statistic. Judge ACC, if you would please, on the overall overarching set of facts. This is one fact, and I know where they get it from. They talk about the thing called graduation rate, but once again, the graduation rate is calculated by a person who started full-time and never went anywhere else but there, and then they went all the way through. That's not how community college students do. They start, they take a few courses, they go to work, they come back, they would never be counted in that rate. But if you ask about rigor and testing and success, and leadership, and all the rest of those things, those programs. Quality, I like to say ACC, easy to get in, but very rigorous when you.
Absolutely.
So, that's it.
Thank you.
Thank you.